Hello everyone and welcome to Malts and Meeples. We adjust a tiny bit here as we get ready for a new stream. New game, new stream. Well, technically not that new a game. This came out in 2019, the second edition. I've also played the first edition. I've actually played more of the first edition of the Pathfinder Adventure Card Game. That one has a ton of content for it, and there's actually an app as well for the Pathfinder Adventure Card Game. I used to play that. I think I made it through basically everything. Let me check one thing here as I make sure that we are good to go here on YouTube. Do I see myself? I do. Excellent. So, I'm Petter. Welcome to Malts and Meeples. Malts and Meeples is a YouTube channel where I play games, solo games basically, or games with solo modes. And today, that is going to be the Pathfinder Adventure Card Game. And actually, for the next few games as well, we're going to be playing this because we have 4 chapters to start, though I think looks like we have it. So 4 chapters, including this intro one, and then 2 more chapters, the first part has, Adventure 1 has 4 chapters, Adventure 2, 2 chapters, Adventure 3, 3 chapters. So, here we go. Let's read a little bit, and then as you join in, if you have a drink, my old-fashioned with me. Lemon bitters, just really nice flavor for it. Let's read the start of the story. Oh, for the glory days of the Taldan Empire. The noble realm once stretched from the edge of Casmaran all the way to Avestan, to the shores of the Arcadian Ocean. Now Avestan is beset with the sniping of rival city-states, the chaos of Galt, the rigid rule of Cheliax, the burgeoning democracy of Andoran. Today, you have a tiny role in the vast web that holds these sundered lands together. Commerce. The caravan master, Silas Gribb, has gifted you with low-paying work guarding a convoy of across the Verdurian forest, a land of wildwood druids, of capricious fae, and the marauding kobold bandits. Truly, there's enough import to keep your attention keen while the wagon rolls on. The caravan's path takes you deep into the Verduran Fork region toward the town of Belhaim. Founded a millennium ago in honor of the mercenary commander, Lady Tula Belhaim, after a cruel black dragon named Adaperix slew her parents, Lady Tula formed a company of dragon slayers and eventually dispatched the baleful worm in the Dragonfen Swamp. For this grand service, she was bequeathed the land upon which her namesake town now stands. It seems unlikely that you will ever challenge something as mighty as a dragon in your day. For now, you must remain vigilant for any dangers that dare come your way. But if a dragon comes, then dragon slayers you will be. All right. So we can skip some of the setup here. Already have done it. And actually, before we read with this first scenario is kind of an optional one to teach you the game. And I'll explain what I'm doing as I go along. I need to pick my characters. They recommend, if you're playing solo, even to play two-handed solo. I've played on the app three-handed solo. I think that's the recommended or required there. Which, now that I'm thinking about it, I might actually want to get that app back at some point in time. It is a fun one to play. But for this, I'm going to follow their suggestion and go two-handed. Meaning control two characters. Alright. Have everything set off to the side here for reference. Let's introduce you to the characters that I might be playing. First off, we have Lenny. Lenny is a friend of all savage beasts of the forest, soothing their hungers and redirecting their baser instincts. With her snow leopard Drugami nearby, she collects sticks from every forest she visits, a wooden road map of her travels. Should she settle down, they may become a house. She is a druid gnome. Sajin. Or Sajin. Sajin, call him that. A member of a disciplined caste of warriors in the service of the knowledge god Iori. Sajin scours the world for his kidnapped sister, Sajni, whose martial art prowess matches his own. He is comfortable with the tatami mat as a temple sword, or his fists that move at lightning speed. If you think that any of these sound fun, let me know. He is a human monk. Amiri. And I'll be able to switch characters as I go, but I wouldn't mind picking two, sticking with them as long as I can. The rugged northern wastes are Amiri's home. Born in a clan of male warriors, Amiri bested them all and was sent on a suicide mission to retrieve a frost giant's sword. With that monstrous weapon in hand, Amiri made it clear that no one should ever underestimate her again. She is a human barbarian. And I am fine going with whatever here. I don't care if I match up strengths and weaknesses across the two characters to cover everything well. I prefer to play the characters I find most interesting. And there are more characters than this that I could play. So I have 4 that are kind of the starting stuff that's already set up. Seoni is a young, natural-born leader, bringing the wisdom of her tribe of nomads to the rest of Glorion. Each of her dozens of tattoos tell a story of her people, many which are punctuated by the blasts of fire she can summon at a thought. She is useful, or not useful, youthful. But she knows more than most. Human sorcerer. And if I really want to, I can set up the other 6 characters. We have Valeros. I can show off the pictures of everybody here. Ezrin. So this is what Ezrin looks like when he grows up from the Dragon Prince. Thumbus. Goblin Bomber. Harsk. Mauricio. Elven Assassin. Lem. Kira. And then, oh, I missed one over here. Sela. Then we have the ones that I can pick right now. Lenny. Sajin. Amiri. And Seoni. I do have the ones that I am leaning towards, but let me take a sip. Sip, see if anybody is in the chat. See if anybody has any preferences. Let me know. Or even, if you catch this after the fact, let me know who you would have played as. And I will say, I do not love these standees. If you're going to do standees like this, cut it so that the character has very little white around them. Like, any of these shorter characters should be on a smaller piece, and that just requires a little bit of cutting. Even somebody like Sajin, getting rid of white on this side would just make it look more dynamic. It wouldn't be that difficult. Well, I mean, it's extra money because you're taking a machine that probably is cutting these default size things. But I'd prefer to have something nicer. And this is a game that doesn't need minis. It really doesn't. So I'm going with Amiri, the human barbarian. She has a hand size of 4. And Seoni, the human sorcerer. And she has a hand size of 6. You threw away the standees and bought WizKids minis? I actually considered minis. I think all of these are, well, I think some of them are actual like Pathfinder characters you interact with. And if that's the case, then, well, I could probably find specific minis for them. Or, yeah, like the WizKids minis, you could get the specific classes that you want, the specific class race combo. Class race and sex combo, I guess. Okay, most are famous Pathfinder characters. That's what I thought. So we're going to start get our characters over and read our opening scenario story. Rumble Road. Silas Gribb might not be the best of bosses. The caravan master is a kind man who says, "Don't worry, you'll get your money," before you ever consider that you might not. He doesn't believe in work breaks for people or horses, and the concept of overloaded carriage is foreign to him as the dark side of Galorian's moon. "Get to work, you goblin dogs," he calls out for all to hear, then returns to doing nothing of the kind. You continue your watch over his caravan as it turns toward the campsite on Old Belhaim Road, mindful of the brigands that haunt these woods. Whatever treasures this caravan is laden with, they will not escape your shift. This is the kind of work you hope to leave behind in the coming months and years. The life of an adventurer is painted as glorious by the bards and skalds, but for you, it's been crickets and camp rations. Someday, perhaps soon, you will learn what excitement is. "Fair Belhaim ahead," calls a watchcaller, though you cannot see anything that alerts you of the town's presence. "Look yonder," she says. "You can see the faintest pinprick of Witch Tower." Sure enough, with a spyglass in hand, you can make out the mournful black tower on the small hillock. An estate is not far from the tower, blocked partially from your sight by the spire. This, you surmise, will likely cause some consternation for the owner of the manor thereupon. Why is it called Thum? Your question is lost amid the echo of a mighty explosion at the base of which, as the base of Witch Tower erupts in fire. There's a horrible creaking sound, as if the structure itself is regretfully giving up on life. Then the tower collapses with a thundering delivery into a massive heap. Your first sighting of Witch Tower is anyone's last. All those around you gasp at this calamity, but two other sounds catch your attention. The first is the whinnying of the caravan's horses, who buck and scatter in a manner that tips over three of the most overladen wagons. The second is a mighty rumbling from the river as a pack of snarling wolves pounces directly on your capsized caravan. "Dire wolves!" shouts the caravan's watchcaller. If you are not swift in dispatching these critters, you will not have a caravan to guard. Characters start at the caravan, so not where I place them. Oh, nice. Have fun with your class. And yeah, let me know what you think of it. Yeah, I hope they continue to make more. I know that this has been out for, since 2019 is the date on BGG. So I'm not sure if it came out that year or if it came out in 2020 technically, but I'd love to see more of this game. I just realized I should let one person know that this is live. All right. 1 second here. I think we are good to go. My apologies for that. Let's see what we start with here for our characters, and then get down to the table. So usually you only have 3 in your starting hand. No, you have 4. So, here we go. There, the mic goes. My apologies for probably some bumpy audio right there. But welcome to the caravan. Over here we have a campsite. And then the trail. We're going to decide who goes first out of our two characters. I'm going to use one of these to just mark, well, two of these I think, just to mark when somebody has been activated. Turn it this way. Or flip it or something. Or maybe I'll just set it next to them. I'll set it next to them when they have been activated. So, we're going to start here by exploring, because that's the first thing that they want you to do in this tutorial. Second thing they want you to do. First thing, we flip from the Hourglass. This Hourglass is basically your timer for the game. I believe this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 cards in it. Normally your timer is 30. With 30 cards, that basically sets how many turns you have, or there might be specific instructions for that. All of these are going to be blessings. When this is the hour, on your check, to close or guard, add 1d4. Not bad, not bad. So this really seems, I played the original, and this really seems super similar to that. This feels like it is Pathfinder Adventure Card Game 2.0, more so in some updated art, updated overall look. I honestly don't know that this is that much better. I think this, if this came out in 2019, Pathfinder 2.0 came out in 2019 as well, so it might have just been a reboot from that. But let's start with Ambi. So you have the option to trade cards, move, and explore. I'm going to start by exploring. We have the Giant Bane Great Axe. To acquire, it requires a strength check of 12. So, I have strength check of 12. And since I am attempting to acquire this and it is not a fight, I'm going to use the crowbar. This is an item that I'm going to put in play, which gives me an extra one to roll. I only have 8. I would not have used another card for that. All this means is I do not acquire this card. This would be a great card to have, great card for fighting, but instead it just goes away. Now, if I had something, I could discard to explore, or I could discard to explore either of my allies. So exploring multiple times is generally a solid idea, because that means that you are getting through these decks of cards faster. Each of these decks of cards is basically, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards or so. 7 cards, and you are looking to either empty out the pack or of cards here, or find the villain and be able to block stuff off. So that does mean you want to go through stuff fairly quickly. I'm going to spend my dear old horse here to explore again. And we have a henchman proxy. This is one thing. Another thing that I'm a little bit questionable on with the game. Like I said, for the most part, I really like this game. But these proxies are just okay. We know that it's going to be 2 direwolves. Print a second copy of this card. Then, yeah, technically, next time, next scenario, next thing I play, we're going to need 2 or more of whatever this is, but that proxy card just doesn't look good. Especially, I mean, not compared to the wolf there. That wolf looks cool. It's nice artwork, or nice fantasy artwork. I do like fantasy artwork. I think this has very, very solid artwork. So, combat, check to defeat. Combat or survival. Powers can't be evaded. And damage is increased by 1d4. I'm going to have to look up what damage is and how that works here in a second. However, I have wisdom. But I mean, that is a straight roll. Well, not a straight roll. So wisdom plus 2. So I roll a d6 plus 2, plus I add an additional d4. We're going to do that. We're going with survival here. 3, 4, 5, 6. And now I do need to look this up. Okay, and so damage, that's easier. Damage is just a d4 of damage. I don't see damage anywhere else on it, or maybe it's 1 always plus a d4. But I do need to check what happens. Roll the dice. Okay. Roll the dice, add up its value, adding or subtracting modifiers. The card is vulnerable. The card is resistant. If the result is greater than or equal to, you succeed. So that means this henchman, for sure, is defeated. And now I'm like, okay, the question I have at this point, and I need to remember, because like I said, the rules haven't changed massively, it looks like. I need to look about closing a location. If the scenario lists henchmen with the word closing. And I believe that I can attempt, and I can, for this opening scenario, to close this location. What that does, if I close this location, is it means the villain, the bandit, who I'm trying to defeat here, will not be able to go to this location. In fact, if I close it, both of us get to move for free somewhere else because we're at a closed location. I'm going to need some more old-fashioned here in a second. So I get a shot to close it right now, and I don't necessarily get to close it. He's gone, no matter what. But if I don't close it, we still have all these cards to get through. So we are looking at a wisdom or perception. Wisdom is just a D6, 5 plus number. I need it. That's another thing I need to check out here. Number. Six plus number of adventure. We are on, going back here to the first page, we are on adventure 1. So I would be shooting for a 6. And I can, I believe, assist. Name local character, or name local non-arcane combatant. So I could recharge, no, that's knowledge, with my sage. For combat, spell on a local character. So I could discard this to bless. That is another keyword I need to look up. There are a lot of keywords here. So basically it is, let me check, you can bless somebody else. Play cards. Characters can play no more than one of each card. Characters may not use powers to modify a skill when they're not using that skill. Yep. Cards played. We're going to discard it. So into the discard pile it goes. We're going to bless, because then we have a wisdom check, which means I get to roll 2d4, and I very well may increase the number of dice I have here. So 4, 7. This is closed. What that means, this whole deck of cards is gone. When closed, and so I could give a card to a local character. I'm not going to do so. We're just going to split up at this point. This is closed. We do not have to worry about this location anymore. Then, end of my turn. Check this out here. You'll reset. No matter how many cards you have played, you end up with the same number of cards. So I have 2 cards in play. Well, discarded in play. That means I add 2 more. I have a long spear and a battle axe. Not bad, not bad. I can pick weapons that I use. This is a night where a little more of an old-fashioned. Doesn't sound too bad. It's a nice day outside. I made for myself, well, actually for all of us in the household, myself, my wife, and the toddler, I made us snow cones. We got a snow cone machine this year. I had bought some snow cone syrups last year, which we used a little bit of last year. But now with a machine instead of using a blender, I think this is going to be way more often. And I'll probably look to try and making my own syrups, own flavorings for it. I think that could be fun to do. And it would probably give me a chance to create some stuff that are less sugary for, well, all of us, really. Alright, so I drew up. We go over to Seoni. I don't have anybody to trade with. I do not want to move. So we have a barrier. If undefeated, suffer Scourge, Dazed, and end your turn. So I either need Charisma Diplomacy, which I have. I mean, I'm going to go for that because I have a D12 plus 2. I'm not even going to bother spending any cards on that. The other thing would be Survival. I do not have Survival. Mary does. 3. Yeesh. 4, 5. By the skin of my teeth. Defeated. Goes away. Yeah, and this is the vault over here. These are cards that we might get to. And now I can decide if I want to use the Sage here. I could discard to look at the top card of location. Discard to examine the top card of your location. Then shuffle your location. You may explore. So I guess it's a chance to figure out some of the stuff that's there. Like maybe it's a way, if you're down to a few cards, to figure out if the villain is there. Huh. Maybe not the... No, I guess I have 3 different types of boons. Boons are anything good for you. Banes are anything bad for you. I do not like that terminology, but it is what it is. So, do I want to discard to explore again? None of these are going to help me explore again. The Sage will. Yeah, I forgot. Draw. When you heal, you may heal an additional card. I'm not healing. You can heal in this scenario for 4 cards, or 1d4 worth of cards. So let me explain a little bit of then healing and kind of how all of that works. I'm gonna pop back up here. So you have your deck of cards. Here. You play them out, they go to the discard pile. This is your life going away as you discard them. you get rid of everything to your discard pile. You do not reshuffle. Unless there's something specific that lets you do so. And that's where like some different keywords become important here, because for example, recharge puts a card on the bottom of your deck instead of discarding it. Or do we have another one? So like the horse here, I could recharge to move. I can't use its power during an encounter. Or I could discard it to explore. I chose to discard it to explore, but doesn't mean I'm going to get it back. So if I do this one, I discarded it to bless. Here, my incitation. Get back to the table here. That one allows me to bless somebody, but it's a discard. I'm going to discard Examine. We have a Swamp Ooze. Good to know. That is defeated by 9 combat. Combat is intriguing here. And then I explore. Alright, we have a Dire Badger. If undefeated, shuffle this monster into a random location. I'll roll a die, even odd. If defeated by a combat check, suffer 1d4 combat damage. And that's where the combat damage starts to make a whole lot more sense. So I either need to do a perception survival. Don't have perception or survival. So I'm going to look at combat here. Force missile. Banish, banish, banish. I need to look up the keyword banish here. I need to glance at combat. Banish, return the card to the vault, which means you may be down cards that you can actively have in your setup. If you are, you then add cards back in. All right, combat check. Type of check. Many powers let you use specific skills for your combat check. Otherwise, use strength or melee. So I think I have to do Force Missile. That is a banish. 2d4 plus arcane. My arcane, that is charisma. So that's a d12 plus 2. 3, 5. Yeesh, this is not great. Not great. Three, so 5. 9. $10, $11. Oh, good. Thank goodness. If defeated, suffer 1d4 combat damage. So 1 damage. Have to get rid of something. Magic Eye goes here. And this does not just go straight away. So one of the important things to note, and I think this is well, I was going to say on spells, but there is one here on this elixir as well. There is during recovery. So something might end up getting banished. This Force Missile might. But if I am proficient, discard this card. So it's going. So I guess it's not going to be, but I can try an Arcane 6 check. My Arcane is Charisma +2. +10 +2, so 12. It was a 6. It gets recharged instead, going to the bottom of the deck, and then I draw back up to my hand size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next up, Amiri. We're going to flip over here. We don't have anything that would cause us to try and close this one. There's no effect when this is the hour. So right now we're playing on what is considered, I think, in this situation to be a pretty nice mode. By that I mean all of these are blessings. You will play future games, or you play in the old system, where some of them have negative effects for you, some of them have positive effects. And thus far, I guess we've seen none or positive. It's possible there are negative in there. I have not looked for sure. All right. Amiri. Actually, what we're going to do, just use one of these tokens. These are not actually tokens you would use in the game. They're standees for these two. And as standees, they don't work so well when they're not laying flat. So we're going to move it over to Amiri. Her turn. Nobody here to trade a card. Not going to move. So we're going to explore. Ooh, a fox. Wisdom survival of 5. Just straight roll. 5. Acquire. And another keyword, I'm assuming, or another word that I need to check on anyways, I should say. Acquire. Gain a boot, add it to your hand. So that's key. Because I can immediately discard it to explore again. And if it's a wisdom or intelligence check, it is not, it's a dex check. I could have then used it to, or I would have added a d4 to it. However, it's a dex check. Oh, technically broke the game, so let's put that down there. So it was a reveal effect at that point in time. The English failed me for a second there. So we're looking for an 8 on a dex stealth. He is strength melee. Recharge to move doesn't help me. I'm just rolling a d6 for a check for an 8. But I can discard my compass, which I'm going to go after a blood bug. Combat of 11. Heavy melee, which gives me a +2. Basically, I am proficient in combat. And as long as I use something that has melee here, so I could do a d12 plus a d8 plus 2. And if you want the math on that, it is 4.5 plus 5.5. So 10 plus 2, 12. statistically, it is probable to defeat it just by revealing this. Proficiencies I have is weapons, so I could discard it for additional D8. I'm not going to. If defeated by less than 4 or undefeated, Scourge Wound. And I need to check one thing here, because I believe Banes you fail, you suffer damage if necessary. I believe it goes back into the deck. I prefer that it did not do so because I mean, what am I at? I'm at 4. I'm going to suffer the Scourge of Wounded. Start of your turn, discard the top card of the deck. When you heal any number of cards, you may remove this Scourge instead. We're going to use this guy to explore again. However, one of the options we have is to heal for 4 or 1d4. So we're going to go there. That was brutal. We got through a number of things though, and we have a couple of prayers, which blessings are useful, really useful, because that is one of the easiest ways to support somebody else. All right. Here we go. Over to Sione. No trade. No move. Technically, I think it's trade, explore, move. And it is a specific order. No effect. I am a believer that this should be shuffled back in, especially first scenario. First scenario, it's 100% getting shuffled back in. Torig's Power. This is just a straight up strength check of 5. Okay, new complaint. It's not going to stop me from playing this game. Even with like super sharp focus, that is not easy to read. I need a 5, no matter what. So I could discard to bless myself, which give me an extra D4. I do not have Divine here. Aha, that one is a display. We're gonna display this one. Doesn't help us right now. Oh, I don't know if there's any way for me to get this one. So it is just a straight D4 roll. I'm looking for a 5. Number sign is really hard to see, like I said. Most definitely did not get that one. Now, do I have anything or anyone to help me explore again? Ooh, hold on. I have my guide that I can recharge to add a d6. That is plenty to get that, which puts it into my hand, which then I'm going to discard to explore. We have the bandit. All right. Big bad with this situation. Before acting, recharge a card. I'm going to leave my deflect in play. Alright. Close or guard. Choose 3 different types of boons, then recharge a boon of each type. I only have 2. I cannot recharge. Or I cannot guard. English, please. And yes, I do know that that is the exact opposite of English, please. So, instead, well, what's going to happen here is I have a combat of 9. So I would use my strength of d4. I have nothing that helps me here. Because the strength of d4, I would add a d4. The minimum is 11 here, so I'm not using any single thing. Got a 4. It says bury the bottom card of my deck. Torg's Blessing actually goes there. All that means is that is removed from my options at this point in time. That card is not banished. It will return when I'm doing the deck building between things. But not right now. And then he, not being defeated, shuffles back in. Had I defeated him, he would then escape to a location that is not guarded. If the location is guarded, there's a Story Bane. I need to figure this out. Story Bane, type of Bane card. See Story Bane on page 22. Story Bane, monsters and barriers. I have no in a way. Story. Okay, it's a danger. Danger for a rescue. Let's look at what danger says. Because I want to figure out how I can do that rescue. Danger. A specific story bane assigned by a scenario to be summoned during play. Okay, so something theoretically that can come up during play. Just sitting out there. Well, wolves are only supposed to be proxy. Oh, the proxy A. So I'm assuming we have proxy A1, A2, and so on. So, we're going back to the assumption that there's a card out there. Alright. That got shuffled back in. Back over here. Nobody to trade with, not moving. Let's explore. Ooh, strength melee. My strength melee is a d12 plus 2 to get the glorious Warhammer. Nothing, by the way. I'm going to discard a card to bless myself. That is 2d12s plus 4 because I won't give in. I won't give in till I'm victorious. I will see about wearing a t-shirt next time. That makes sense for that. So T2D English hard. Oh my goodness. 2d12. I definitely was on the wrong camera for a tiny bit. Or maybe I just did that for the glorious. 2d12 plus 2. 12, 14. Yeesh. 3, 17. That is no problem. And the glorious Warhammer. And then we are going to offer up a prayer. I know at this point in time that my main villain is not in this deck. But I need to get through it in order to be able to close it. Or if I guard it, to stop him from being able to come over here. So we have combat of a rat swarm, vulnerable to attack. Isn't any combat an attack? Well, let's look. We have Session doesn't have attack as a keyword. I can see. Same with Lenny. So it's your last chance book. Attack. It's not in the glossary. I'm assuming it's plus 4 no matter what, which is going to be a d12 plus 4. If it's defeated by less, though, than 4. So if it's at a 12. Reveal my battle axe. D12 plus D8 plus 4. Eight plus 4 is 12. Should have used the glorious Warhammer. That would have gotten me to 13. So just to shuffle back in. I got nothing else to help me explore this time. So passing turns. Yeah, extra card. 1, 2, 3. Forgot to give Seoni her cards. Seoni's turn. Explore. A wild boar. Combat of 10, then a combat of 11. Oh my goodness. Forgot. On your check against a spell, 1d4. Well, there are no spells in that stack, or that one. So, I guess we're looking... Discard to bless, discard to bless, discard to bless. Oh no, it's only one card of each type. I got nothing. Like literally nothing. I'm not going to spend a card. 2. Alright. I mean... undefeated monster here. There has to be a rule in here for it. Summoning, resetting, don't care about that. Suffering damage. Okay. Suffer damage if necessary. If you fail a check to defeat a monster, you suffer damage equal to the difference between the difficulty and the result, which means that I most definitely would have spent one of these, because that's 2. That is 8. So 6. That is 4. What's the word? Avenge. Avenge. It's important. Oh, there's no... Okay, local. Local is important. Here, local, a location. So, character, local, character, avenge. Encounter a bane after another character. Yeah, no, that doesn't help. So... 4. 2 gets shuffled back in. None of these, I think, are that ideal for my character here. But we'll see. We'll see what we end up with here. Passing it back over. Still know the villains in here. I guess we could swap. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So, here we are. Do not take points. All of this stuff in the stack because we needed to draw an additional card there. It's all buried. I mean, I just assumed that I was not going to run into that problem. All right. Amiri. Amiri. On your blessed check, you may roll any die showing a 1. All right. We know what we're trying to do. Okay, we have our henchman here. Survival of 6. We have a survival of D6 plus 4. We're going to discard this to gain an additional D6. 3, 8. We nailed it. Oh, no. No. This is not great. I do not have 3 types of boons in my hand. I only have 1. I have weapons. Nothing I can do here. So then we flip. Explore again. When this is the hour, when you would discard a boon to bless a strength or constitution check, you may recharge it instead. Let's see what we got here. I mean, at this point in time, we need to get through this ASAP. Vulnerable to attack. If defeated by less than 4. So 2d8 plus a d12 plus 4. 15, 19. Okay, just straight up defeated over there. I'm going to discard. Oh, this is so risky. I'm going to have to heal soon for 1d4 and hope that I roll a 4. I'm running low on cards. We flip. We have a Goblin Troublemaker. I can't actually close it even if I run out of cards? Question mark. Closing. On page 15, closing your location, you may earn the opportunity. When you have the opportunity and you want to close your location, do whatever the location says. If you didn't find any example, finally apply effects. If your location is left empty, you may attempt to close. Well, powers before acting succeed a dexterity, constitution, acrobatics, or fortitude 4 check. So dex is a 6, con is an 8, acrobatics, well, or fortitude. So I have fortitude, that gives me a +1. So 8d8 plus 1. This has been brutal. 3, suffer scourged poison. Well, there's no reason for me to search and set it aside here. After you reset, recharge a random card. When you could heal any number of cards, you may remove the scourge instead. I still get a chance to attack it. So strength, I mean, I'm going melee. It's a melee weapon. So D12 plus D8 plus D12 plus D8 plus 2. 10, 12. 12 takes it out. I do not have anything here. So I'm just redraw. I have a blast stone and leather armor. Okay, I have an item, weapon, and armor. hit the next one here. At reset, you recharge a random. Oh no. Oh no. I need 50% chance. 50% chance. Weapon. Okay, excellent. It's recharged. Goes to the bottom there. I only have 3 cards. This is key at this point. Over here, if you discard a boon to plus a dexterity or charisma check, you may charge it instead. Only 1 card left here. We have a blood bug. 1d8 plus 1. Nope. We're doing this. We have 3 turns left. What we're doing though, we healed. So now we have additional armor, I guess. On check against an outsider card. Don't know what they are, so this is not one. 4. 5, 6, 7. 7. Oh no, I can't close it if I discard this. I wouldn't have done it. 7. Scourge. Wounded. Wounded. At the start of your turn, discard the top card of your deck. We're healing a D4. Well, we heal. That goes away. I don't think we're going to win this first scenario, guys. Oh. Flipping those 2 might be the right choice. Yeesh, we just destroyed that first location and then nothing has gone right since. Well, we're going to do this. If you check against an undead, nope, not an undead. We reveal the glorious Warhammer. Okay, we defeat it. That is 12, 13, 14. We suffer wounded. I do not care. We have 1 turn left. So it's coming down to the end of it. So we refresh. Wait, do I have 3 different types? Yes. 3 cards. Bottom of the deck. 1, 2, 3. Wounded. We discard. We move here. Flip the last one. I have no way to explore additional times. Oh, I could have healed cards. Come on. No. Combat 10, then combat 11. Reload. What is reload? Oh, reload would be to the top of the deck, so plus a D4. Doesn't really matter that much. That is 8, 10, 11. We beat it the first time. And then I'm going to recharge this one. So that. Eight. That is it. That is it. I do not defeat it. So, there we have it. The first scenario, the introductory scenario, was not defeated. We had another Bane, a monster, a sacred candle. Probably would have been perfectly fine to acquire for another character. The bandit was the bottom card in that deck. Alright. Well, I mean, that is kind of the fun of this game. It's one thing that I like about the game, and thinking about it, I wonder if it started on local storage or not, or if it was like a Google Play saved in a database sort of thing. But I'm gonna download the app again. I had a lot of fun with this, and this is just the beginning. So, quick start. We have, after the scenario, after winning, normally, blah, 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 normally continue. Could replay on normal mode. Or move on to the next one. We are going to replay this on normal mode just because the first scenario or so, I want to demonstrate how this all works. I'm going to stop explaining quite as much of what I do as we go on further, but I'm going to set up the vault, which is going to have more cards in it for normal mode. We'll replay it on that and try and beat it. Thankfully, we did not lose any cards, so I can reset character decks. Actually, I think they get to keep the cards. You just don't get the benefit. They keep the card and allows them to move around stuff. And I think after scenario, blah, blah, blah. Continue with same characters. Choose build your deck, page 4. But I think we're after a scenario. Blah, blah, blah. Rebuilding. Thought there was something about rebuilding in here. Rebuilding, page 17. Rebuilding, when you finish the scenario, you rebuild your deck for each character. Start by combining cards from your discard and hand and bury. Into a card display, you may trade cards with another character. Your deck must end up meeting the requirements. You may not keep cards whose level is higher than the most recently played scenario number. Scenarios number. The exceptional loot cards. So, that matters. For example, scenarios number. I mean, this is scenario 1. We can keep the glorious Warhammer. We have gotten that through our battles. No cards were gotten rid of, so we have weapons. 1, 2, 3. I'm only looking at weapons because I think that's all we acquired. So we have 5 weapons here. 4 blessings, that sounds right. 2 armor. 2 items. Oh, 3 items. 3 items. Where's the 3rd item? 3 items. I guess we do have an extra ally as well. So for sure, I want to keep the weapon 1. That is a better weapon inherently, my glorious Warhammer. And then I have 4 weapons that can become an additional 3 weapons that I keep. The Warhammer, 1d8. Ignores after acting. I mean, longsword I should keep. Battle axe has a discard. So it's either a long spear or warhammer. Against a monster, you may additionally reload to ignore its after acting powers. That sounds really good. After playing this weapon, you may not play an offhand boon this encounter. Additionally, you may discard it. Let's drop that one. So I've rebuilt Amari's deck, but now it has the Warhammer in it. And then on the flip side here, we have Seoni. So we have, let's see, items, 2 items. Let's find our items. 2. Do we only have 2? We only have 2. Then we have our weapons. We have 1 weapon. We indeed only have 1 weapon. Spells. Spells we have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that makes sense. Allies, we have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And blessings. So this is where we got the extra thing. We have one additional blessing. On a check, discard to bless. On a strength or constitution check, freely discard. Because I think freely is going to mean that not counting towards the usual limit of playing 1 card or 1 of each type of boon on a check. So inherently better for combat. On check that invokes acid. So I want to keep that one. Keep that one. On a local check, discard to bless. If the hours level is 0, you may recharge instead. Toss that one over there and reset deck. Oh, and I forgot with our Amiri, we have an extra companion. Recharge for int or wisdom. Recharge for strength or melee. Recharge to move. Sorry, horsey. You gone. Alright. There we have it. There we have a defeat. A defeat on the very first game in the introductory mode of teaching me how to play. Well, it is what it is. So, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to reset what I have down here. The nice thing about having a gaming table with a topper, and especially with this game where there is no height to anything, I can work over the weekend, get this reset, or I can even do it tonight, though it's not going to happen tonight. It probably will happen tomorrow before I play D&D. It's not going to happen tonight because there's Miss Marvel and we can't communicate that really should get watched, and I want to. So like I said, thank you so much for watching. My drink is most definitely killed. I hope that you enjoy this content. If you do, if you enjoy this gameplay, If you have some thoughts on it, I do not know how to get to that rescue. Is there something at the location? I do not know how to get to that rescue. Okay, let me look at one thing here. And maybe it's that, so that there can be up to, well, next time we will be playing with different locations. Let's put it that way. So, we'll have to see what comes up. But, yeah, like I said, with that, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, subscribe. Click that thumbs up button. Leave a comment. If you want to know when I go live, leave a... Wow, no, I was going to say my podcast thing there. If you want to know when I go live, click that notification bell. It will work for most of you. And, yeah, there's a few other things I do. Podcast, I just mentioned. 10-Minute Marvel. Talk about all things Marvel. Going to be watching, like I said, Miss Marvel tonight. And that means come Tuesday or Monday night, depending on your time zone, that will be being talked about on my podcast, as well as the nerdologist.com, where I'm probably going to talk about the differences that I've seen thus far between Pathfinder Adventure Card Game and Pathfinder Adventure Card Game. So check out nerdologists.com for that article and plenty of other board game articles. But with that, maybe you can get a tiny sip. Bottoms up.